Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome and how are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. I'm going to talk about arguments, quarreling with your Filipina. Now, it's only inevitable when you're married to somebody that could be quite a bit younger, different culture, you're from first world country, they're from a third world country, and they've left everyone and come to be with you, that there could be, some clashes. And I want to tell you that I think there always will be some. Obviously, how you handle them and respond to them is important, but two peoples together, we're bound to have some conflict. So I want to talk to you about some of the things that we struggled with, if you can call it that, early on, and close with some thoughts I've got from the internet on how to handle these problems or these arguments, because I want you to find a Filipina, to find love with a Filipina if you don't have that and that's what you're looking for, and I want to be useful. So this is called for the sake of argument. What to cook, that could be an issue. As a single person, before I got married, I cooked for myself, or I went out and bought stuff for myself, but I was used to eating what I wanted to eat, and so I wasn't really looking forward to anything different. Now, for the most part, my wife allows me to eat what I wanted to eat because it was pretty healthy, but she has made some Filipino food, and I do like her cooking. We really haven't struggled too much with that. Some people told me at work, well, once you get married, your wife's going to make you change everything you eat, and she's not going to let you eat the things you like or whatever, and that hasn't been the case. She wants me to eat healthy, and I wish she would actually, hide some things from me, like, I don't know, cookies or chocolate or whatever, because I have a hard time with that, and, maybe sometimes I wish she would just not buy it or hide it from me. We've talked about that. It's all on me to exercise discipline, but that's not her fault. How to cook some of your food. Hamburger. I like mine rare to medium rare. Okay, bacon. I like that crispy, extra crispy. Now I don't think they make a lot of hamburger in the Philippines. And so she feels like it should be more cooked. I kind of like it undercooked. Sometimes the bacon, I got to keep reminding her, hun, a little bit more crispy, until she sees just how almost burnt I want it. She can't really tell. So also I like the 90%, 93% hamburger. And she started out buying the 80, 85 because it was less expensive, and that's good. A Filipina will look for the best buys, but even though I know it's more expensive, I kind of wanted the higher percent hamburger. So that's something we had some discussions about. Nothing bad, but again, most of the stuff we really argued with early on was just stupid things. Nothing big, just stupid things. Now, obviously, being here in the United States all these years, I felt like I was responsible to show her around and let her know how things are done here in America. And she's from the Philippines, and she doesn't want to feel that she's inferior because she's new around here. She wants to show me what she can do. And you may have some squabbles about that where I don't know. I wouldn't call it a power struggle. I don't know what it is, but there's this dynamic that now that you're together, how are you going to interact so that you're not controlling each other and the one doesn't feel more important or less important than the other. But that's just something that, again, you think about the video I did on the profound sacrifice your Filipina makes for you, and that will help you maybe hopefully respect her and realize what she's done for you, and hopefully that will help avoid any kind of power struggles. Laundry. We did have some discussions about laundry, how to wash clothes. Well, these are whites. I organize it this way, and she organizes it that way. you know, she's not used a washing machine before or a dryer, so we had some issues there. How much to put in it as far as clothes, not to overload it, how much water, how much soap, what kind of detergent, all of that. You know, just little things like that. You know, she's got her way she wants to do it, and you can get stubborn and say, no, that's not the way I want to do it. And you know, you have to learn to pick your fights. If it's not that important, just let it go. Washing dishes, you know, a dishwasher. She didn't use a dishwasher for, I don't know, 6 months. She hadn't used one before, and she was used to washing by hand. And then when she did use the dishwasher, you know, there were times I thought she overloaded it. And again, that's a stupid little thing that we argue about, but I don't even know how she loads it now. I don't watch, but those are some things you learn early on that, you know, maybe you'll see something you're not used to, try to evaluate whether it's really important enough to get into it. About money, well, I've told my wife, you know, cheaper isn't always better, and I praise her frugality. I like that, but sometimes you can buy something that's less expensive, but the quality isn't as good. And so hopefully I've made my point, and she'll see the longer she's here, when she compares different things, let's say furniture or clothes or whatever, that in general, the more you pay, the better quality, the less you pay, the less quality. So what also scamming, there's a lot of scamming going on in the Philippines, and there's scamming here too. But you know, she kind of felt like maybe the U.S. maybe was somewhat like the Philippines, where there's as much scamming there was. So we had some times I'd say, hon, I don't think this is a scam. This isn't a scam. That isn't a scam. And she thought, well, it will be a scam. And I think that caused some unnecessary stress. Now, I have been scammed online since she's been here. I bought her something online, and it had to be a scam. I never got what I wanted and couldn't communicate with them. At least they ignored me. And so, lesson learned. But you know, who doesn't know somebody that's been scammed somewhere? I don't think it's as bad as it is in the Philippines, though. But it does happen. Buying online, I've always liked to buy online. My wife is very uncomfortable with that, and we've had some quarrels about that. I think I'm probably a little bit more trusting. You know, she could say maybe I'm a little more naive or something, but that was something that we did kind of disagree on. Another thing, budgeting. She was not used, of course, to how much everything costs here. And so I showed her everything. I laid it all out. Here's what we're making. Here's where everything goes. And you kind of have to feel each other out for what she thinks is really necessary and important, and what I think is necessary and important. And eventually you're going to have to distill it to what you both can agree on is worth spending your money on. Sending money to the Philippines for us has not been an issue. For some couples it certainly can be. So that's something to talk about before you even get married. Also, what type of job for her. She's going to probably need to work, and you'll have to look at her, what she's capable of doing, what her experiences are in the Philippines, and try to find something, you know, not necessarily that pays great, but that she can do, and knock it off to a bad start and lose confidence. So what type of job for her. Also, we had an issue at her work, which is the same place I work, and I thought that she wasn't being treated well by some people, and I think management agreed. And I stood up for her, and I told her, you know, hon, you got to stand up for yourself. This isn't right. And of course, I really wanted to get in there and get involved because I want to protect her. And you know, she's Filipina, non-confrontational. She'd rather just leave or whatever, not say anything, and I just can't deal with that. That's not the way I think it should be. So finally things happened, and we had to do some reporting, and they did some investigating, and I guess that's all over with now. But there was a time when I just couldn't let it go, and we had a little bit of an argument over that. And finally it got to the point where I just said, look, we're doing something about it, and I'm going to get involved, and we're going to talk to the right people, and they're going to do something about it. So that worked out. Also here, home responsibilities. My wife said right away that she was in charge of everything inside the house, and I am in charge of everything outside the house. So I guess for me, that's shoveling and snow removal, cutting the grass, staining the deck, things like that. And she does such a great job with everything inside. A Filipina, I think, will love to take care of the house and make it look like a home. How about how much Facebook time? A lot of Filipinos are into social media, especially Facebook. Give her some space early on. She's going to be away from home. She's going to be away from her friends and family. She's going to probably want to communicate maybe even more than before. Give her space, because it's a huge move, and allow her, to acclimate to being away from home, and that may mean more social media time. She's, tells me about how much time I spend on YouTube, and maybe that's too much time for her. So, I'm glad that she values that I spend time with her, but this could be a bone of contention if, I don't try to see things from her point of view, which helps solve a lot of arguments and keeps them from getting too severe. How much time we spend together. Okay, you're married now, you can't go back to living like you're single, or you could end up being single again. So you'll have to talk to each other about how much time you spend together, what you should wear. Most women want their husbands to look good, and they say, well, that's representative of me as your wife, what you wear and how you look. So I would recommend not being stubborn and letting her make some changes. They're probably going to be for the better. There are things I'd like her to wear too, and we both kind of have to say whether we like it or not, or comfortable or not, but we try to please each other in this way. What to watch on TV can be an issue for you. I wasn't a big TV watcher. She is neither, so we pick like romance movies, love stories, stuff like that. That's what she likes to watch, and I do too. I try to get her to watch some sports, and she tries. What kind of music? We both kind of like the same music. There's a lot of 70s music in the Philippines for some reason. That's what I grew up with. That's what we've been listening to. So that's good for both of us. What to do for fun? Big age gap, can that interfere with what you do for fun? Well, yes and no. It all depends. We just kind of decide what do we want to do for fun. We're mostly homebodies, but we still want to do some things, and so we just have to find some things that we're both pleased with. And we've been able to do that. Where to go on vacation? I haven't been many places here. Now that I'm married, we can go see someplace, so it really doesn't matter to me. So that's been good for us. Now, I've heard a guy say this. We went to Branson, and the guy said, who out there has been married the longest? And a man that had been married over 60 years said he's learned this, that he would rather be happy than right. He'd rather be happy than right, and that's something to think about when it comes to getting along with your Filipina wife. Now, a few things I gleaned here from the Huffington Post. How to diffuse an argument before it happens. Real quickly is to remain calm, let go of the need to be right or heard, be a good listener, and wait patiently. And now I'm going to list you some things from goodhousekeeping.com. Avoid these things to not argue with your Filipina or anyone else. Okay, consistently pointing fingers. It's a myth that your spouse is supposed to make you happy. Focus on what went wrong and how to change it. Chores, not feeling appreciated. Also, who should do what. Chores can be a bone of contention. 3, finances. Women want to feel safe and secure. And you should be on the same page on your finances. And this may take some time to really thinking about something that you can agree on, for your expenses. 4, ignoring problems but venting in other ways. And they made the comment here, if you're not willing to let this stuff out, you're not willing to have the intimacy you could have. It shows a lack of investment when you're going to keep things from each other and ignore problems. And keeping frustrations inside and the silent treatment, that's not good either, because it allows couples to think that they're more successful than they really are. 5 different sex expectations. Sex is the way to express being close to somebody, not a way to get close to them. And be affectionate during the day. And ask for what you need. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. Number 6, expecting them to know how to make you feel special. You must say what you need and what you want. 7, avoid pointing out annoying habits. Give feedback in a loving and kind way. If you're nitpicking about every little thing, chances are there's a bigger problem that is bothering you, and you need to find out what the real issue is. Number 8, checking out with TV or social media, basically avoidance, maybe too much work. You're probably withholding something that is upsetting to you or painful, or there is something you don't want to share with your partner. 9, I told you so statements, avoid those. 10, always or never statements, best to avoid those. Find a different way to say it. 11, using white lies or hiding big secrets. This means that you have not built up a sense of trust or an agreement that you're really going to be partners in life. Best friends tell each other everything. I don't know why a husband and wife could not tell each other everything. I think it helps with intimacy. Don't think that if they know this about me, if they know I've done this, they won't like me, they won't love me or accept me. I think that kind of philosophy damages intimacy. 12, avoid saying you're just like your mother, you're just like your father. 13, you expect them to be the same as when you were dating. Well, marriage gives us a different life, different responsibilities. If you have children, that's going to make things different. I don't think this is saying that they're going to change completely from what they are, and then you're not going to recognize them and not like them. That's kind of fatalistic thinking as far as that goes. When someone starts to grow and change, their partner can feel threatened, but we should be supporting each other's efforts to learn and grow. Just a couple more. Avoid embarrassing each other in public. Talk things out in private. A Filipina is good at this. They don't generally want to make a scene in public. My wife will tell me this. She'll do great. If I know she's upset or something, but we'll talk about it at home. But she's not going to cause a scene. That's a great thing. Last one, you don't say you always side with your parents or something like that. The Bible talks about leaving and cleaving. You start over. You consult each other for your major decisions, because you shouldn't go to your parents anymore and say, well, this is happening and that's happening. You need to work things out together. You say, this is my husband, my wife, our life, our marriage, and we make the decisions that we need for each other. Now, leaving and cleaving, by the way, is probably more difficult for a Filipina. Why? Because of the strong family support and influence that they have. And when they're so far away, in my case, almost 10,000 flight miles, it's understandable that she might go to her family and lean on them a little more than she should. I'm not aware that she has done that. But leaving and cleaving, if it, in your case, it could become an issue. And it's something you have to talk about. The Bible says we leave and we cleave, and we don't run to other people and say, well, my husband's doing this, my wife is doing that. We got to face things together and say, I don't like this. I think this is hurting me. This is hurting us. And we're a new family unit, and so we focus on each other. So some people say they rarely argue. I hope that's the case. I think if you don't have a big ego and you're not selfish, then you're probably not going to be arguing very much. We've had our share, but we've been married over 2 years, or actually 2.5 years or more, but together for 2 years. And I would say every 4 to 6 months, any incident goes down and we have less, or we handle them quicker. And that's a sign of growth. But don't look at having some kind of an argument. Don't get that off. Let that get you off balance, because it's going to happen sooner or later. You're going to have one. And just tell yourself it will get better in time. I'm going to be calm. I'm going to try to hear things from their point of view. I'm not going to use bad language. I'm not going to raise my voice. I've done that plenty of times, and I'm going to learn to be better at that. And I don't know if my wife realizes this, but I think I have done a better job of biting my lip, not saying something, and just saying, well, let's just let this will get better tomorrow. And the Bible says, let not the sun go down upon your wrath. You're going to get angry some days. You want to try not to go to bed angry. You may just have to say, hon, we got to talk about this. I don't want to stay up tonight. I want you to sleep well. I want to sleep well. But this is something we definitely need to talk about, and try not to go to bed giving each other the cold shoulder or sleeping in other rooms. So I hope this helps, and I want you to focus on harmony with your love beyond the sea.